Hey guys, this is Pidge, welcome to the channel. Welcome to build number 3 of my offline focused base builds. Considering its size, this base is an absolute tank. It's really easy to use and it features roof stacking mechanics with a full HQM bunker, optional turret pods and an optional shooting floor. The reason I say optional is because I wouldn't necessarily put a shooting floor on a base of this size. I feel like it's better if it doesn't make a statement and sort of flies under the radar, but the option's there, so I'll include it in the video. The upkeep of the finished base I'll put here on the right hand side, and for that upkeep you get a hell of a lot of base, trust me. We're going to take a look around it now. The first thing we'll talk about are the turret pods. I would highly recommend having these turret pods, especially if you're going to build a compound. A compound combined with turret pods provides you with a lot of protection, and it keeps nosy people at bay because they can't scale your walls and just take a look at your base and have a look around. So an extremely powerful defensive tool, and for very little cost. There's plenty of space on the roof to put some solar panels and even build windmill pods. But they are optional. If you hate electrics, then just give them a miss. The next feature are 2 doorways. This not only creates confusion, but it gives you a secondary entry and exit into the base. One of the doorways is fake, which we'll talk about, but it still allows you to get in and out of the base without sacrificing defense. The shooting floor is optional. I've just put a really simple example on here. You may come up with a different design, but there are certain technical complications with roof stacking, which I will go over later, that you will need to consider if you want to change the design of the roof section. Okay, let's take a look inside. We have simple slanted roof access to the doorway. Immediately access up to the roof. This mainly is going to be for you to check whether you are being door camped or to defend anybody who's messing about outside. So nothing fancy going on up here. These 2 slanted roofs here allow you to actually have it like an emergency exit out of the base, so you can get out if you need to. The other doorway leads directly down to the other door, which is a fake doorway. So you can see it's closed off here. So it just provides a little bit of confusion for raiders. They don't know which door is the front door. I always like to have 2 ways in and out of my base. So I recommend using this fake doorway every now and again, just in case anybody's keeping an eye on you. That keeps them guessing which way is your actual entrance. Okay, enough about that. So here's the front door. Then we get into the garage door path. It's important that this is armoured. It's the same cost now. At this point they're pretty much aware that it's going to be a garage door path, but it's the same cost if they want to go in here as it is to follow the door path, and that's really important. Then we come to just a small living area here, so we've got 3 furnaces, couple of boxes, and a tier 2 workbench with a sleeping bag. The sleeping bag's important to have upstairs, so don't forget to put one down. Next we move into the core, and here is where you see that it is a sealed HQM bunker. If we remove the bunker, take a look inside. And this is the layout that I have gone with. You may be able to come up with a better configuration, but I think this is pretty good. So 6 large boxes in here, tier 3, 4 small boxes, a campfire, sleeping bag, which is, apart from the TC, this is the most important thing, and a drop box. You could also fit another drop box on here after you've done your electrics. Just make sure there's enough space for your electric. I always like to have this set up in my bunkers, so campfire, small box onto my large boxes. And what this allows you to do is actually move around in complete silence, but have access to all of your boxes. This is really important because anybody who's keeping an eye on you, anybody who's spying and thinking of raiding you, it doesn't give them that information. Like, where does he spend most of his time? You don't want them to know that. This may seem over the top for a lot of people, but trust me, it's very, very useful, and it's information that I've used in the past to help me effectively raid bases. The thing that makes this base extremely powerful and deceptive is that once you have gotten them to commit to a door raid, you've pretty much won. It's expensive through any of the sides, so you're looking at 16c4. There's only one way that's cheaper, and that's straight to the bunker wall, and that would be 12c4 plus the garage doors, but it's unlikely they would take that route. Like, there's a small chance that they would take that route. So from any angle, you're looking at 16c4, but once they've committed to a door raid, it's significantly more expensive. Let me give you some examples. So let's say they complete the entire door path. Let's talk about this in c4. So 1 for the door, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then they hit the HQM bunker, and then there's another garage door. So that is 22, 23, 24, 24-ish C4. I know they probably would use rockets in C4, but let's just say 24 C4. And don't think it's any cheaper to actually come in here and blow down, because you still have the door paths, let's say, to get to this point, and they think, oh, I can just blow down and straight in. Well, not really. So these sheet metal floors will cost 8c4 each, not the usual 4. So essentially it's double armored through any of these triangles and to get into the base. And it is actually double armored through here. So this would be 16c4 to get through this floor. So extremely tanky. If they do try to blow down, that's probably the point where they're going to give up. The last thing we'll look at is the TC for the upkeep. And there you go. I think easily achievable for anybody, even unofficial. And for how much base you get, I think that is an insane upkeep. So let's get on with the base build. Okay, the first thing we're going to build is the starter section of the base. Dead simple, it's a 1x2, but with a twist. Because we're roof stacking this base, we need to include that portion now. If you've never roof stacked before, then I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do that right now. So, we'll come all the way over here and we'll actually use this as our base. Ideally, what you want to do is find a nice flat piece of land. It doesn't have to be massive because this base has a pretty small footprint. So, you know, a lake, an ice lake, shallow water, anywhere on the coast really, and some places in the desert. The thing is, if there are any bumps whatsoever, so let's say you're in grassland or even in the desert, and you think, oh, this is a lovely nice piece of flat land. Often it's not as flat as it looks, and you'll start, when you walk left and right, you'll actually just start sort of gaining height and losing height as you go over little bumps, and that's really, really important. Now, if you are in that situation, but it's your perfect build spot, you want to live there, it's fine, I'll show you how you can do that. Let's pretend now we have a perfectly nice flat piece of land. And what you want to do is you want to crouch and you want to bring the foundation down so it's just above the ground. Then let go of crouch and place the foundation as you rise. Now whatever you do, don't press W or S. We're only going to use A and D. So we're only going to move left and right. And you'll see that this happens. Now what I suggest you do is go on a build server and just practice doing this for 10-15 minutes. It'll save you a lot of time in the long run because you're looking for something particular with how this looks and how it feels, and you just get used to it. Because if you get this bit wrong, you just have to start again, and on wipe start, that can be a little bit tricky with so many people milling around. So you want to be able to get this right first time. That right there is what we're looking for, and it's where the blue just overlaps. It just overlaps a little bit further. It almost feels like it clips in. But yeah, go and test that out. And then to check that you've got it right, you can place down 2 half walls here, and you're looking for absolutely no daylight in between them. If there's a tiny bit of daylight, don't convince yourself that it's fine. It's not. You will have to restart the base again at some point. So you're better off getting it right now, where it costs you next to nothing, than finding out later down the line that you've messed up. So that's what we're looking for. If you are building on something that isn't completely flat, what you can do is you can place two foundations down, and you can do it from the foundations instead. Just make sure you're sort of you know, perpendicular with the edge, and then do the same thing. So we've achieved the same thing, but maybe this was bumpy ground, but we use this to level ourselves out. Okay, from here, once you've got this right, you want to place 2 squares out there, remove the lower foundation, the lower triangle, and place back a higher triangle. Remove that and upgrade all of this to stone. The door frame needs to be wood, and then everything else can be stone. We'll slap a door on there. And the TC just needs to go here as far left as possible. Double door frame. We want to place this shelf in here, so we'll head outside. If you place a triangle foundation there with a half wall, and then you can actually place the shelf through the wall like that. Remove all this, come back inside, upgrade that. You want to put a double door on here, whether it be you know, wood or sheet metal, and you want it opening outwards. The reason being, it just adds as well, it just acts as an airlock there. Still can't get in. Okay, the last thing that needs to happen is we need to put a low wall here, and I would recommend upgrading that to wood because this is really important. Without this here, this foundation is not protected by the TC and will start to decay, and if this decays you have to start the whole base again because you no longer have that roof stacking foundation in place. By placing this this low wall here, it connects to the socket on the wall, and that means this is now covered by the TC. So this is really important. Okay, that's the starter base complete. The cost and the upkeep is down in the bottom left hand corner. The next phase you're going to want to complete all in one go. Once we create the outer ring, we really don't want to give that information out to anybody that we're doing something funky here. So we want to build it up and seal it all in one go. Before we can upgrade, you're going to need to go out and get a few things. You're going to need, I would suggest, around 20k stone and about 10k metal and enough wood to melt it all. You don't need the metal straight away, so that can just be melting in the background, because we'll be upgrading the whole base to stone first, which is relatively cheap, and then eventually we'll upgrade to metal. So keep metal burning, and then you're going to need access to a ladder. So either get some scrap and move down the tier 1 tech tree, or if you're lucky, find it in a box. The other item you're going to need before you can finish the inside of the base, so you don't need this to finish the shell, but you'll definitely need this when doing the inside of the base, is a garage door. I'll explain why it's necessary, but it's absolutely necessary. So head out, get those mats, get that ladder. Then we're going to build the outer ring. Everything that's connected to the 2x1 is what we're going to refer to as the lower section, because that's on the lower foundations. Everything else is going to be connected to the higher section, which is going to be the external ring that we're going to create now, including this foundation here. That is the shape that you need to create. And then we're going to get rid of the excess, and that is these triangles here that are not required. You can remove these 2 triangles as well if you're not going for the turret pods that I showed at the beginning of the video. I highly recommend you do, but if for whatever reason you're not going to, then you can remove these 2 triangles as well. Same on the other side. And we can remove this lower wall as well. So that's what we're left with. Now we need to establish where our entries and exits are going to be, and if the entrance to the 1x2 is on this side of the base, then the entrances to the new base are going to be on the back of the base. So let's throw down a wall and a door frame, and the same on the other side, and that clearly identifies that. Okay, once you have these doors in place, we want to add all of the ceilings that attach to the lower section of the base. Like so, and then we can add in the honeycomb. Oops. Only needs to be single layer for now. And then we can build the external up 2 floors. Next we can add this foundation connecting to the lower section, and then add 2 layers of full wall there. And then we're going to repeat the same thing over this side, except above the doorway we're going to need a ladder hatch connected to the lower section. That's what that should look like. And then we add the honeycomb in. Make sure you've got your ladder on you. And here on the end of the squares, where on this side we've got the doors that we put up, so on the other sides we just need to put a second door. Hey. The last couple of things we want to do are add the doors on, and then create our new entrances. We're going to use roofs here, and we want them to face across the door, so towards this triangle in the middle. And then close this off with walls. Let's do the same on the other side. And these triangles are for the turrets later, which are optional. Okay, now we can seal the roof, and then we can start working on the inside. So we want a ladder hatch, triangle ladder hatch here, and we can fill the rest in. I'm just going to build the really simple roof access example that I put at the beginning of the video. Missed that? Then go check that out. There we go. Okay, heading back inside. We're now left with this, and we need to start upgrading to metal. So let's do that now. The nice thing here is that we still have access to all the honeycomb, so even though it's sealed off, we can still upgrade it. And that's what I meant earlier by there's no real rush for the metal, because you can upgrade at your own pace. So here we can upgrade all of the honeycomb walls. These two here with the ladder hatches, these should be armoured at the earliest opportunity. And then the center ones should be upgraded to armoured, but you can keep them sheet metal if you don't have enough HQM. But you will need to upgrade them later. At this point we can add the higher ceilings. Here we need a second ladder hatch. We'll only be using one ladder hatch, but we need 2 frames. And upgrade all of this to sheet metal. And that's what you'll be left with. Don't be tempted to upgrade anything further at this point. There's some things that I really want to explain to you guys. Again, more quirks with doing floor stacking, some things if you've never done it before that you need to understand. Anything that's connected to this 2x1 needs to be connected to the lower ceiling. So you'll see here that we have a lower ceiling and a higher ceiling. All walls need to be connected to lower ceiling if they're connected to this 2x1. So it's fine now, it's fine now. But if you were to place the floor down, you will not be able to place anything. So be mindful of that. What that means is we need to complete the door path now, including the garage doors. And this is why I put so much emphasis on it earlier, because you're going to need to place the garage doors now to continue. So from now on, I'm going to upgrade everything to metal. We're not dealing with stone anymore. And we're going to want to create our door path. And that's what it looks like. Then you'll want to place your garage doors. Now that we've got this set up, we want to use these door frames to create the underside of the roof. And we want to extend that all the way around. But not underneath the ladder hatches. Okay, now we can finish off the honeycomb. You can see now that it reaches the ceiling, no gaps. That needs to be a wall, and then this one would be armoured, but you can upgrade that at any time. And then over here we want our little furnace room, so we can fit those walls like that. Here you're going to have to place down the window now. And then we're actually able to upgrade the floor and put things on it. Upgrade these to armoured as early as you can. And then throw your furnaces in here. That's my recommendation anyway. And then you want a tier 2 couple of boxes, and make sure there's a sleeping bag up here as well as downstairs. Let's throw the ladder hatches in now. Lastly, we want to place all of our garage doors for our door path, and this one needs to be sealed off. That's our fake entrance. And that's the base pretty much complete. The next thing we need to do is do a pass outside and make sure we upgrade everything to sheet metal that is currently stone. If you have an issue like this, head inside and change this door so that it hangs on the opposite side, and that will get rid of this so it's invisible. Having any sort of information leaks like this is really bad, because then they'll guess that there is sort of a garage door path that leads across this wall. We really don't want that, so give your base a check over and make sure no garage doors are poking out of the side. We want to upgrade almost everything that is stone now to sheet metal, including the foundations. And finally we want to do the ceiling. Okay, yep, these up here are fine to be left stone, and the door frames, as I said, they can be left stone. The other two optional turret pods go in the center of the long walls. And now let's head back inside. Down into the bunker. Get rid of this and we'll place a garage door instead. And then upgrade everything to sheet metal. Armored. Sheet metal foundations. chop out this wall, and we need to add 2 low walls. Get rid of the bottom one, upgrade the top one to armored, and that's the vault complete. So I did show my recommendation for how to decorate this section. I did fit 6 large boxes, 4 small boxes, tier 3, sleeping bag, extremely important. Do not forget your sleeping bag or all of this is for nothing. And that is the design complete. There are some walls that I do recommend upgrading further if you get a lot of HQM. And those would be this wall 100%. And then any other walls that you can see that are connected to this 2x1. So this one, and these 2. These 3, sorry. So that's just if you get a lot of HQM. When you want to seal the bunker, when you're logging off, you just need this small box can stay here the whole time. So I'll put that down. Then you want to place a half wall with the soft side facing inside. Just leave it twig, and then change this to a floor triangle, crouch, look down, and place that. Upgrade this to HQM, make sure you've got 7 HQM on you. And that's it. Close all your doors and log out here. Okay, and there is the completed Abalone. I feel like I covered everything. I hope you guys really enjoy this base. I feel like it's unique and extremely strong, especially considering the cost of the upkeep. I want to give a massive thank you to everybody that supported my base 1 and base 2 videos. Base 1 just went crazy, base 2 not so much. I'm not sure if that was the editing style or the base itself, but I'm just going to keep putting out the bases that I would rock myself. This one I would say is solo focused. You may be able to run it as a duo, but I would say more solo focused. The next build is going to be more towards the trio end of things. So guys, if you did enjoy this build, please take the time to like the video. It really helps me as a creator. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'm really looking forward to reading the comments on this one. And that's me done. Enjoy the Abalone. Peace out.